Mm. Da, 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 da. Hey, ba, ba, ba. Time for women's wrestling. Shop, ba, ba, ba. Knocking over Julia. It is time for wrestling. Here we go. Hey, what's up, sickos? It's me, Bix Bested, and this is Don't Call Me Diva, where we only talk women's wrestling. I run down all the women's action in the weekly AEW and ROH weekly shows of the ROH. I wish there were two this week. Woo! Plus, whatever else women's wrestling related that I feel like talking about. Let it be known to those who are new, we live in the world of kayfabe here in Divaville. It is episode 24 of this show, and if you need to know more about me, go check out episode 1 of this playlist. Right. Are you ready to go, people? For this September the 12th in Detroit, GCW's Evil Deeds will be having the Megasis Megan Bain versus Shotzi Blackheart. Waha! That's going to be exciting. I know nothing else more about this match, like if it's a hardcore match or whatever, but like, oh, that's going to be exciting. I think this is the first time these two have faced each other. Mm-mm. But not Megan's first time in GCW. She's fought in there a few times. Did you know, people, that Persephone from CMLL will be their representative for the TBS Championship four-way at Forbidden Door in London? All right, so there's only one more person left. Who do you think it will be? It's going to be from Stardom, right? Throw out your like fantasy bookings in the comments. I'm like, oh, Saya Kamatani, because like I'm a massive Saya Kamatani mark. But anyone would be cool. Who do you think's going to be in it? Ready to set the mood, people? Bring the boom, shake your boobs. It's dynamite. Dynamite is coming to us from Cincinnati, Ohio, and we are in the Andrew J. Brady Music Theater. The venue is packed, and everyone seems to be quite excited for a night full of wrestling. We come in as the Death Riders prepare to enter the arena. Marina is in butt kicking battle gear as per usual, as she stands staunch, waiting for Mox to give them the sign to start moving. Marina Shafir has always been mean. But since Mox lost the title and the things the Death Riders have currently been through, Marina seems like a little colder and even more determined to like damage literally everyone recently. I'd be scared if I was around Marina. I'd be like, nothing to do with her at all. She's brilliant. She's wonderful. Let her be on her way. And I would scamper out of the room. Marina and fucking Yuta stay at ringside during Mox's battle against the amazing Kevin Knight, who has the speed of ball in his corner, which is very, very smart. Every time the battle goes to the outside, Marina just circles like a shark. When fucking Yuta gets his hands on Kevin Knight, Marina keeps Speedball at a distance with her ominous presence and rippling muscle. She seems to get ripped more and more and more like every week. It's quite impressive. But Speedball isn't going to lay hands on her at all, and I think she is absolutely taking advantage of this. Who would be a good rival for Marina now, do you think? Now that like her and Willow's paths seem to be kind of going in different directions. Hmm. The other thought I have is that we have this Death Rider, Chris Statlander, interweaving that hasn't really been discussed enough recently that could bring Willow and Marina back together. Chris Statlander being the link between the two, you know? Chris Statlander has like softened her darkness a bit, but she really did enjoy choking out fucking Yuta and Best Friends. when she was full of goodness, by the way. So, that could be a nice bonding moment for her and Marina, you know. We will see what happens. But Diana, the mysterious Diana, who we have not seen recently, does have the skills also, I think, to take on a Marina. She has the confidence, the experience, the toughness, the technical ability as well to give Marina a tough fight, I think. Serena Deeb, of course. That would be a fabulous clash of technical abilities as well. Queen Aminata, anyone from Triangle of Madness, and Alex Windsor, others. But for now, Marina seems to be kind of staying out of ring combat that doesn't involve, like, not development talent, like, that doesn't involve, like, less experienced wrestlers, as we will see a little bit later. Oh, mighty well. Of course, the Death Riders give Kevin Knight and Speedball a beatdown, and after the match, Marina stays on the outside, but when fucking Yuta throws Speedball out of the ring, Marina is right there, ready to kick Speedball. When Darby's music hits, though, it doesn't take long for Marina to jump into the ring again and stand in front of Moxley, putting herself defiantly between them. Marina death stares at Darby so intently that she doesn't even notice that Kevin Knight has leapt into action and taken Mox out behind her. Mox rolls out of the ring and heads back out into the crowd. At the same time, fucking Yuta jumps at Darby but gets a skateboard to the face. Ha! Caca! Why did I sound like the crow? Turns out of the way, but she looks over to her right and sees that Mox is getting the fuck out of there. Marina gets out of the ring and quickly follows in Mox's direction, leaving FY to his fate. Caca. Commandant of her own fleet of boats and a jet ski, 8 belts, Monet's music hits, and we get a very proud CEO with all the belts. Okay, alrighty. I think we need a little rundown of what each belt Monet carries currently is, because I know I have written like them all down and spoken about them in many times in past episodes of this show, but even I got brain bamboozled when trying to recall them all. So here we go. Mercedes Monet has for Rev Pro Wrestling, she has the Rev Pro Undisputed British Women's Championship, and also the Queen of Southside's Championship that belonged to Southside Wrestling Entertainment that was brought by Rev Pro. That one is like that little black one she has when she always has the Rev Pro ones up into. It's the Queen of Southside one, so that's where 2 belts comes from. CMLL's World Women's Championship, of course, the European Wrestling Association's EWA Women's Championship, Primetime Wrestling Women's Champion, and also the Bestia Wrestling's Williams Champion, Wrestling Women's Champion, and of course the AEW TBS Championship. And good old Pinky herself, the Owen Hart Cup Tournament Championship. The jet ski, because she doesn't, defend that one. So, she is currently the carrier of 8 belts. I don't think my fingers were going to do that. But when you get into the weeds of how this affects her boat ownership, which we all know is the, main issue here, there are only 6 belts. Though Rev Pros 2 does combine to form a super yacht. So 5 boats, a super yacht, and a jet ski. You are welcome. Mercedes Monet comes out in a new red mesh set of battle gear. Her title belt, half skirt, and a jacket made of fluffy black with fluoro yellow tips. I had a brain because I volunteer at a cat shelter, right? And we have a fluffy blanket in the exact same material with like the little tips and everything. It's super cozy. So this jacket must be wonderful. She dances down to the ring and bounces out her battle pose. She can't really like get the thing going. She's all belts, really. She's a woman in a belt. Next out, we have the Triangle of Madness. Mercedes is, of course, slightly miffed that her spotlight has been diverted. Just a little bit. Beat. Triangle of Madness have a faction song now. Yes! It is so cool. It is called Asylum, and is sung by friend of the pod, Mr. Ruckus. I got, okay, I got this information from the man himself, and I was quite chuffed that he took the time to reply for me. I thanked him very much, Lee, and took a moment to praise on his very impressive vocal range and like vocal range and styles, and also music creation. Manifesting things over here on the pod. Perhaps our unhinged kayfabe heavy DCMD lore is manifesting into reality. Good Lord. Could you imagine if it escaped the realms of here? Madness would ensue onto the world. For this match, it shall only be Sky Blue and Tekla competing, but our dark enchantress, Julia Hart, is by their side. I wonder if Monet is going to gel with the cohesiveness of the duo between Blue and Tekla. They have tweaked their entrance again just ever so slightly, and I'm loving everything they're doing. I'm biased as fuck when it comes to Triangle of Madness. I just am. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Fucking nerd. It looks like Sky might have a new crown, which is very cool. It like seems to be a dark silver creation and like ornate patterns. It's very beautiful. They get into the ring, and as the lights swirl in silver, which I have to say I really, really appreciate because I don't get photosensitive seizures or epilepsy or anything like that. But flashing lights like they were doing during their like pose in the ring, and also like a lot of red since we're on the subject, really foops with my eyes and it makes my brain get real mad and I have to I can't look at it. It pisses me off. So, yay! Triangle of Madness form a circle and hold hands as Julia conjures up the demons. The TBS champion, always the team player, gets in the circle and really hypes up the team. The entire crowd are on their feet for these epic entrances and everyone is pumped. Windsor is here. Alex explodes out to the entrance stage and gives us a battle jacketless battle pose with a battle cry for battle. She pumps out up the crowd and walks to the ring, not, silly enough to get into the ring, but defiantly, not intimidated either. Next up is the hip-shaking beats of Queen Aminata. Our one and only comes out in her stunning yellow battle gear, and it does not take her long to lock eyes with Tekla. She joins Windsor, and they await their teammate. And here she comes, the hero of the locker room, Willow Nightingale. Her music hits and is da-da-da. As Willow walks out of the entrance stage, the whole crowd is clapping along to her music. Once Willow joins Aminata and Alex, they all get into the ring. Willow runs around the ring as is tradition, battle poses on the ropes, and this is when I notice a little fan in the crowd is wearing a Layla Gray hat, and I popped real hard for that. I noticed that there were a lot of kids at this show, and not unlike a lot of kids at this show, there was a lot of kids at this show, and everyone seemed to be having a wonderful time. But wait, we're not done. Someone else would like to join this match. The world goes grey, but the reds are vibrant in our hearts because it's time for timeless Tony Stark. We pan from the entrance stage and into the balcony. We see the world champion dressed in battle gear. She is potentially suspicious of shenanigans. The world title is gleaming around her waist as she acknowledges the applause from the crowd. We briefly pan to Monet, and judging by her expression, she is either going to vomit or have a tantrum. The unbothered timeless one waves on until she is rudely interrupted by The fallen angel, the American Joshi, the minion overlord, the forever champ, Athena Elite Wrestling's ROH World Champion, as of this recording, 16 days away from being champion for 1,000 days. Athena. We pan across the balcony to our ROH World Champion, who is standing there with her stunning championship belt and contract. Athena waves to the crowd, who is very happy to see her in her all-black bodysuit with buckles, and it is fabulous. Both world champions are doing moi the personal favor of dressing in all black, and I thank them very much. Over the Timeless One's shoulder, I can see the action has begun in the ring. Mercedes and Windsor are circling each other until Windsor does something that makes Monet nope the fuck out of there, and she tags in Sky Blue. Willow teases the TBS champion by imitating a chicken, and Alex gives us a couple of bicep pumps. Well, it's kind of like one of those. Sky Blue is quick to engage in battle, as I notice she is minus some hair. The woman with all the hair has a normal amount of hair this evening. Sky and Alex are countering each other's moves, and Blue manages to wriggle out of Windsor's grasp and gets out of the powerbomb. Blue sucks Windsor in the face, but Alex comes back at her with a running shoulder barge and releases a battle cry. Alex whips Sky into her corner and tags in Willow. Willow takes Sky by the hair and throws her into another corner, rams multiple forearms into Blue. Willow pulls a wobbly Blue into the middle of the ring and takes her down with a short lariat and goes for the cute pin, which is never going to work on Blue, and she kicks out at 2. A CEO was also quick to get into the ring to save the pin if needed, but scurries back after the kick out. All tag team legal. Willow pulls Sky up to her feet and out of the view of the ref. Sky rakes Willow's eyes. This gives her the chance to reach her corner, and she tags in the TBS champion. Willow stumbles blindly over to her corner and tags in Queen Aminata. Mercedes Monet gains control over Aminata quickly, and she slams her face into the mat repeatedly. She celebrates with a quick CEO power-up dance, which she does not pay for. Queen Aminata is still actually quite rocked from those. When the one and only gets thrown into the ropes that Tickler is hanging on, neither can resist getting a cheap shot into the other one. But it's Queen Aminata who is quicker, and she knocks Tickler off of the apron. Aminata gets Monet back with some stiff shots to her head by way of chocolate kisses, and the TBS champion is knocked loopy. Queen Aminata tags in Alex Windsor, who takes every advantage of the damage done to Monet, and she lifts her up onto her shoulders, and slams her down with a body slam, quickly covering for the pin. But Monet noped the fuck out of that noise and jumped out at one. Yeah. A flurry of shenanigans happen all at once as Windsor tries to put the sharpshooter on Mercedes. Sky is first to lay in the boots, but Tickler quickly follows. As Sky spins to avoid extra damage, Julia Hart grabs her ankles, and this gives Monet the perfect opening for a lung blower. It's a heel beatdown on Windsor in their corner as dastardly deeds combine between Monet and the Triangle of Madness. Sky tags in Tickler and chokes Alex on the ropes. Blue is so unapologetically violent, and I love that. Blah, blah. Tickler then deals a lot of damage to Windsor and traps her into the Judogumo. Willow and Queen Aminata are pumping up the crowd, trying to get some power to Windsor, but she cannot get away from Tickler, and she tags in Monet, who continues the beatdown on Windsor. Monet plays around, though, a bit too much with Windsor, and Alex grabs her by the head and gives her a jawbreaker. This gives her some space, but Windsor is still unable to get to her corner before Monet is on her again. She has a very strong jaw. Monet whips her into the corner for her running meteora, but Windsor engages in swift feet and escapes the corner before the TBS champion can land the move. Alex makes it to her corner and tags in the hero of the locker room, Willow. Tickler takes the tag from Monet and runs in to stop her, but Willow plows through her with a lariat. Willow takes out all of her frustration from the beatdown Windsor got on Tekla. Willow takes to the ropes and flies off of Brett's rope of healing power and shotgun drop kicks Tekla out of her skin. And the hero of the locker room releases a battle cry. Sky is not having any of this and runs in to take down Willow. Blue is quick and attempts a crossbody on Willow, but she gets yoinked out of the air, heft up onto her shoulders, and then Willow slams her down on the mat with a Death Valley driver. Blue rolls out of the ring. Tekla runs into the ring, but so does Queen Aminata, and they clash. Queen Aminata is quicker and snaps Tekla around for a fisherman suplex. Monet sprints into action, and Queen Aminata gets caught on the side of the head by a stiff kick. A mini flurry of violence ensues as Blue comes in to save Monet, but gets booted by Windsor, cracked in the head with a headbutt, and then taken out with a blue thunderbomb. Windsor gets to her feet with a battle cry. Willow has dealt some damage to Monet and has thrown her into the corner where Tekla has been previously thrown. Windsor whips Blue into that same corner, and then Willow whips Queen Aminata into all of them. All three just get smushed and they collapse to the mat with a a willow bark, which made me chuckle when I wrote that down. She runs at the three heels and cannonballs into all of them. Willow tries for a pin, but Tekla kicks out. She was like the first one into that corner. She took everything and she still kicked out. Tekla is badass. Queen Aminata tags in and takes Tekla down with an air raid crash and tries for a pin. But Tekla is still not out enough and she gets out for the three. No, she gets out before the three. Queen Aminata sees Hart on the apron and she's not meant to be there. And before she can do anything, Queen Aminata takes her out with a headbutt. The distraction is Aminata's undoing, though, even though she took her out, because Tekla rocks her block off with a few stiff kicks. Tekla tags in Mercedes, but this space gave Aminata the chance to crack her in the face with a heavy forearm. Queen Aminata then stumbles over to Windsor and tags her in. Windsor, Russian leg swifts. Windsor Russian leg sweeps, low lariat combos Mercedes Monet and goes for the pin, but is denied. Windsor takes this opportunity to put the sharpshooter on Mercedes, and it's a good one. But the power of winning lives strong in Mercedes, and she drags herself over to Sky, and she gets the tag. Sky Blue and Monet double team on Windsor, and Willow has seen enough. She runs in at Willow, but Sky travels the world and takes her out with a DDT. All six wrestlers throw everything at each other until just Queen Aminata and Tekla are left. The one and only knocks her down with Queen's crown. Everyone is out on the mat as the crowd and the two world champions applaud the battle before us. Blue's toughness gets her to her feet, and the two legal competitors engage in battle again, while everyone else is still out on the floor. Sky connects with a thrust kick, releases a battle cry, and runs at the ropes for momentum for Code Blue, perhaps, but Windsor catches Sky and slams her to the mat with a pop-up powerbomb. Sky, now vulnerable, and Windsor twists her up for a delicious sharpshooter. Plus, a battle cry in the middle of the ring with no one to help her. Sky has to tap out. The faces stand victorious in the ring, but in the balcony, a brawl between Athena and Tony has broken out. Athena has raced like the wind from her seat to where Tony was, and they fight their way out to the back somewhere. In the ring, though, the heels get their licks in and they beat down the winners. Triangle of Madness, then let's get the folk out of there. But Monet stands in to give her Forbidden Door opponent in that four-way an extra little beatdown. Athena and Tony then appear on the entrance ramp and but Tony then turns the violence on Athena. And both Athena and Mercedes end up on the entrance ramp, pissed and seething. The power of the live crowd giving the world champion what she needed to overcome Athena's kind of nasty attack. Tony delivers a banger of a promo and we end with a tango. I'm loving the tangos. I really am. I I have a weird little like collection of things, and musicals can sometimes very much amuse me. So having dancing in a comedy kind of way just really it really makes me chuckle. And then when you add in the fucking and when you add in the kick, that's an actual wrestling move. Oh my god. I'm just gonna get joy out of that move for fucking ever. Oh, I love it. The remarkable in a red waistcoat, Renee Paquette, is backstage to get the scoops from above about a lights out steel cage match, which involves an ace. He gives her the news that we all go whoo about, and we were going to leave them there, but the bruv asked Renee to tell her husband, the Mox himself, that he would like a word with him in Glasgow next week. The remarkably usually unbothered Renee Paquette looks quite uncomfortable. And we move on. Hey, bruv. Bruv stepping up to the Paquette. Who'd have thunk? We briefly pop into Alicia Atu, who is beautiful in a polka dot dress and has come upon the Death Riders and tells Mox that the ace will be on the Bruv's team at Forbidden Door. Mox slightly pecks himself and walks off. Right at the end of the show, the remarkable in a garage, Renee Paquette is back and getting the scoops from Hangman. But soon that is interrupted by MJF, and woo-hoo-hoo, we're going to back away from that. Renee, she's been all up in the mix in this dynamite, all there, just everywhere, with her fingers in all the scoops. That sounded a bit weird, but you know what I mean, right? She's right on. Like I said, Miss Renee, we're always looking, always watching. It's collision time, folks. And we are still at the same venue. The crowd seem extra pumped for this show, and we have some fun matches to go through. We have a very special opening promo from our timeless world champion, who looks beautiful in a black dress with a fluffy red hat. Milk, milk, lemonade, around the back fudge is made. I'm so sorry, Timeless. I couldn't help because it's so fun to say. And Tony gets on her knees to pray to the fallen goddess. Pray and she will come, apparently, because right on cue, Athena and a boot comes flying in from the dark into the spotlight. Tony has been ambushed many a time, though, and avoids the boot. Violence absolutely erupts on stage entrance with AEW World Champion hammering down shots onto Athena's body until Billy Starks, in a black sparkly booty shorts strapless one piece, comes running out from behind Tony and stomps on her. As the crowd boo, Athena and Billy beat down on Tony. Athena is furious, to say the least, and gives us a very impassioned, full of anger and confidence in her ability speech at taking the Timeless One's title off of her. Athena calls for her spotlight and mocks Tony Storm, but the smug look on her face instantly turns to fear as color explodes and Mina Shirakawa's music hits and she walks out rather calmly and faces Athena, who is packing herself. Amina's hand looks really, really good. I'm so happy she's already back. Billy has taken Tony into the ring as per Athena's orders, and in the confusion, Tony takes Billy off her feet and slams her down to the mat with a German suplex. Athena finds herself between Mina and Timeless, and boy, does our forever champ change her tune quickly. Athena tries to talk her way out of trouble, but that doesn't work. So she flies at a pile of security who've appeared out of nowhere and makes her exit away from danger. Mina and Tony embrace, and joy fills the air. Mina has fresh, like pink balayage hair, and it's super satisfying to look at. It's so gorgeous. We spy a very mad Billy and Athena, and then we move on. We have the Death Riders versus Speed Jet tag match, which means we get Marina Shafir. Um, I mean, I won't be mentioning much else about this match except Marina is wearing a grey hat. Quality information that you needed to know here. We're moving on. The remarkably gorgeous in a red dress this time, Renee Paquette is getting the goss from the boys backstage. The boys have some issues, and good old Kyle just wants everyone to get on. We leave her to it and we move on. After the crimes on a lucha, we fade out to a Skyflight promo, which can only mean one thing. Check your levels, people. Layla Gray. Layla is in a little black outfit with cleavage and white trim. The men are talking smack, and Layla is giving it all of the attitude. Gray gives us some fighting words of her own and warns Dawn that in Scotland, we are going to fuck you up. The men instantly are like, hey, whoa, hey, whoa, hey, hey, whoa, there, at her fighting words. And Layla rightly gives them all a like, really, pussies? As if the men want to like win, they should think about, putting her in the match maybe for some muscle. Christopher Daniels extorts money out of our queen, which she pays from her bosom, and stumps like a baddie, telling the boys that we need to train. Love her. Love her. Ah! Holy flying fraggles, people! It is time for the $100,000 forward. Holy crummities! TK's just throwing the money around. And first out is my girl with the rest of Triangle of Madness. And Julia Hart comes out singing her incantations as she walks slowly to the ring. Julia is in her black and lime green battle gear and her fabulous battle jacket. She completes the ritual on the ring entrance, and violins of Megabads music hits. It will be Penelope Ford, yeah, girl, who will be competing in this match, and she is accompanied by Megan Bain. So far, 3 extra baddies are out for this match. We'll get to that. I was very much mistaken, which puts some numbers against the other competitors, which it doesn't. Penelope Ford comes out in her white, blue, and gold battle gear, amazing fucking crown, and flight, and white fluffy cropped jacket. Megan Bain is in a beautiful maroon dress and a white headpiece. Fluffy white boots adorn the Mega Scissors footsies, and the girls are matching. But yeah, Megan Bain isn't joining us for this match. Next out is the Anna J. It's been a while since we saw Miss J, as she is accompanied by Ty, who is in a all black outfit of exquisiteness. It looks like she will also not be staying ringside, though. Jay has new battle gear, a two-piece in black, blue, and pink with a pink choker. So yeah, no like outside shenanigans so far. All very legal. Chris Statlander is the final competitor in this four-way. Chris poses on the entrance ramp in our Muscle Mama battle poses. Chris runs around the ring, and this is when I first thought that they were still there. I thought she was going to chase off the Triangle of Madness fairly, but instead she goes over to Chivoni, Tony Schiavone, and blows confetti in his face. The bell rings. Stat and Penelope face off. Jay and Hart face off in the other corner. Synchronized blows in the corner from Stat and Jay onto Ford and Hart. It's as if they have telepathy and they whip Ford and Hart into each other, and then synchronized slams brings them all down to the mat. Now it is only Chris and Jay in the ring, and they engage into battle. Anna gets Chris down with a series of very quick moves, a dangerous J kick and a flatliner, but misses with her next move, and Stat drop kicks her to the back. Drops her onto she drop kicks the back of her head. Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened. Chris goes for the pin, but Hart swoops in to break it up. It is this moment that I realize none of the members of Triangle of Madness are ringside. Look at that. Julia picks Stat to attack and starts working on her arm. The shoulder as well, to seem like to weaken the powerhouse. Julia, still having control of Chris's arm, takes her over to the corner, and Julia climbs the ropes. Hart walks the top ropes and then flies at Stat with a Hurricane Rana off the top rope. And Stat goes flying. Very happy with this little evolution of that. Now we still need a name, thank God, but lovely little evolution. Stat still has the power over Hart, though, and she whips her into the corner. Behind her, Penelope Ford has gotten back into the ring, and all four competitors are now in the ring. Stat runs at Hart and hits her with a running uppercut. Penelope quickly follows and handspring back elbows into Stat, now who is sandwiched between her and Hart. Anna Jay runs in at all three of them and cracks Ford in the head with a high kick. Anna takes Penelope out of the corner and gives her a lovely suplex. Hart recovers from her corner smoosh and takes it out on every single person in this match. Her fury enhancing her strength as she takes them all down. Ford recovers and joins in on Hart's beatdown on Jay. Both take a moment to gather their breath. But as Ford's back is turned, Hart goes for the pin. Hearing the count, Ford breaks it up quickly. I mean, fair enough, it is a four-way. Hart and it is for like 100K. Woo! Hart and Ford engage in a violent exchange of forearms. Hart gets a stiffen one. A stiffen one? A stiffen wolf. Gets a stiff one in. And then perfectly executes a standing moonsault into a pin on the still down Jay. But it's not long until Ford goes no and pulls Hart off, breaking the pin. With Hart down, Ford does the same and does a beautiful standing moonsault of her own onto Jay. But this time it is Hart who breaks his pin up. Ford and Hart continue their forearm battle from before until Stat bursts into the ring and takes them both down with a double lariat. It's now Stat who dominates by giving everyone a head and arm suplex, and we get a lovely gun show afterwards in celebration. Stat lifts Ford up for a delayed vertical suplex, but Hart pulls Ford down, and they both attempt a double suplex onto Stat. I mean, they are both strong, but Stat is way stronger and blocks the move, ending up suplexing the both of them over her head, and they come slamming down to the mat. Penelope instantly grabs at her hip on the landing, and Hart holds the back of her head. Stat boots Ford out of the ring and throws Hart out with her. She is setting them up for a tope suicida, I think, but those two are smart and quick and avoid the move by sliding back into the ring. Luckily for Chris, she has seen this in time, and she adjusts herself, and she just ends up kind of sliding under the bottom rope and ends up on the apron. She's not safe though, because Anna Jay sprints into action and back kicks Stat off the apron. But she then gets yoinked by Hart, who then throws Jay awkwardly out of the ring. It is now just Hart and Penelope. The amazing Ford puts a knee in Hart's gut and then hoists her up onto her shoulders and brings her down onto her knees for the fireman's carry gut buster. I cannot express enough how much strength it must take to pull off that move. Because, like, yeah, you got someone on you, and then you have to literally, like, spring them up and then funk yourself back down onto the mat and then have your knees up and boom. And then, like, you're meant to be the victor in this situation as well. I mean, it's not a good thing for the other person, of course. No one wants to be hiffed up into the air and then but you take some fucking shit yourself. She says casually, having a sip of water while she ponders. Especially that landing on the knees and then like having to dump down so quickly. I love this move. I love Penelope Ford. She's a strong motherfucker. Now, Ford pounds down on Hart and then drags her to the ropes for a fun, illegal little choke. Ford then kindly gets Hart off the rope by catapulting her and then goes for the pin. Julia defiantly kicks out at 2. Ford drags Hart to the corner, jumps down on her, planting her there. Ford climbs the ropes, but in an instant, Jay jumps up onto the apron and interrupts Ford's plans. Stat is up and she yoinks Penelope off those top ropes, suplexes her over her head, and slams her down to the mat. Stat goes to do the same to Jay, but Anna denies Stat and takes her down with a blockbuster. It's Julia who goes for the pin on Jay, though, but Jay is fired up. Jay runs at all the wrestlers who are trying to recover in the corners and gives them all a heel kick to the face. Anna Jay gives Statlander a backbreaker, no, a backstabber, and puts her in a pin, but it's just a doo. Jay heel kicks have activated everyone else, though, it seems, and Chris goes for a power move with both Jay and Hart on her back. But Penelope missiles through her with a shotgun dropkick. She avoids a lariat from Jay and then takes her out with a matrix cutter. Hart gets in some stiff forearms to the face, but when Chris gets involved, Ford can do nothing about being yoinked and put up on his shoulders. But holy flying fraggle sicko, Penelope is still activated. She twists her body and takes that down with a gorgeous poison runner. Well done. Oh, it's beautiful. The entire crowd show appreciation for the battle and all of the wrestlers involved. They just need to take a moment to regain some stamina, though. Oh, give them a moment. Julia has whispered some incantations and explodes with a boost of power. She takes Ford out with her devastating running back elbows to the face. Jay tries to take her out, but she gets a pump kick to the gut instead. Julia plants Jay into the mat and then drags her limp body into position. We see Julia nod at Penelope, who has climbed the ropes herself, it seems, and it looks like she is wanting to take advantage of the still down Stat that seems to be in her avalanche moonsault vicinity. Unfortunately for them, though, it does not go as planned, but it does look freaking cool. Jay gets to her. Oh no, Jay gets her feet up and Julia lands face first on her boots. Stat rolls out of the way and Penelope lands heavily on the mat. Jay and Stat engage in extra battle boost because they unleash a flurry of violence onto Hart and Jay as the crowd are just roaring. They then turn it on each other. Jay gives Stat a stiff forearm, but the Pele kick from Stat takes them both down, and everyone is once again hurting. Who can dig the deepest into their activation and get the pin in this match? This four-way is very, very strong, and no shenanigans have happened either. Nothing too illegal for a four-way has happened, and, this match has been between 4 wrestlers throwing everything at each other so they can be victorious and take the 100K. A 100K must feel nice, but I'm sure the bragging rights of victory would be priceless for the winner. I reckon they'd never let anyone down when they won that. Both Stat and Jay have engaged in extra battle boost mode because they unleash a flurry of violence onto Hart and Ford as the crowd roars. They then turn it on each other. Jay gives a stiff. Jay gives Stat a stiff forearm, but the Pele kick from Stat takes them both down, and everyone is hurting now. Who can dig the deepest into activation mode and get this pin? This four-way has been very strong, and no shenanigans have happened either. Nothing too illegal for a four-way has happened. This match has been four wrestlers throwing everything at each other, so they shall be victorious and take the 100K. A 100K, win must feel nice and all, but I am sure bragging rights of victory would be priceless for the winners. A Cincinnati chant, this is awesome. Hot J, combat in the ring. Jay slams Julia face first into the mat with a gorgeous gory bomb special and goes for a sluggish pin. And honestly, that was never going to work because Ford was right there and she drags Jay off of Hart by her leg. Ford and Jay end up fighting on the ramp. Ford rams Jay's head through said ramp with a beautiful DDT, but both of them end up down on the ground, unable to get back up again. Jay from being out and Ford from just being plain old exhausted. In the ring, Stat has pulled that special submission card thing and has Julia in a painful situation in the middle of the ring. I still don't know the name of this submission, but I do know that a hit scissors definitely involved with an arm. Bari is also armbar scissors. His is we don't know. Did I talk about Angelico in last week's episode? I don't think I did. Correct me if I'm wrong. So recently we found out that Angelico has been doing some producing and coaching stuff backstage. He is so talented. It is very, very exciting. And the reason why I mention this is because I had been pondering on if one of the coaches has been, giving them little battle tips backstage. Because the wrestlers have been coming out with these delicious new submissions that have either been like hardly used or from like way back in the day that people have completely forgotten about. And along with Deeb and the Danielson man, Angelico would also have many tricks to share. Back in the ring, though, Juliet cannot hold out anymore and she must tap. Step gets the win, though! Cincinnati goes bananas! Woohoo! Chris is practicing her making it rain skills when Tekla and Sky race into the ring. Remember those shenanigans? And deal some beatdown damage to a very victorious but now beaten Stat. The one and only, dressed in cream and gold, looking like an absolute star, is out just quick enough to stop the beatdown on Stat. But the numbers are against her. And Queen Aminata is now down on the mat, getting stumped by Tekla. Julia is up and getting in on the beating. Jay is now up and about to help, but Penelope jumps on her back and starts to choke her. Ty races out to save her bestie and is also dressed in battle black, as I said. But behind her is the Megasis, who would have been there earlier, but she walks at a glacial pace so as to maintain her sprint bonus. It is an all-out brawl. The heels are pounding on the faces with absolute domination. But who is this? All of a sudden, we hear the feel the crowd explodes. into cheers as Harley Cameron herself comes out to the entrance stage full of rage and vengeance, which, with what I first thought was a rather large spanner, but it turns out to be a big piece of wood with a chain wrapped around one end of it in her hands. Everyone gets the fuck out of the ring. Even Megan. Initially, she wants nothing to do with the ramped up Harley and her weapon. But once Harley gets, starts shit talking Bane from the ring, the Mega Sister's rage takes over, and she is now super keen to get it into it with Cameron. Penelope, who was on the ground, is like grabbing Bane's by her fluffy foot, stopping her from engaging. Which she almost gets a boot to the face for. You can see with Bane when she gets activated, no one is safe. Ford tells her it's not worth it. And that kind of calms Bane down. The heels gather on the ramp, staring down Harley Cameron, who stares right down back at them, unafraid. This could be leading towards a blood and guts match, which I would very much like. Would that be the first female blood and guts match? We would have to think about that one. After the break, we come back to the remarkable Renee with the scoops bucket and the victor of our four-way, Chris Statlander. Stat is very pleased with herself, and as she should be. And finally, the confetti thrown in the moment actually makes sense. Stat is statting until a wild and newly returned Harley runs in and attempts to lift Stat up in her own arms in celebration. Unsuccessful with this. Cameron then jumps into a kinda unwilling Stat's arms. Stat looks at Renee like a bit bewildered, but Renee is focused on the newly entoured Harley Cameron, and so are we. She thanks Chris for her inspiring speech that inspired the wrath within Harley Cameron. Mox and fucking Yuta then show up. Awkward. The remarkable, always professional to a point that has become rather suspicious. Renee Paquette does not react to the entrance of her husband, but Harley does, and it is a brilliant piece of physical humor that you really must see if you haven't already. It will live rent free in your head for the rest of your life, and every time you feel down, you just think of that, and you're just like, very funny. Mox has one word for Chris and then walks away. Fuck you, Yuta makes an ass of himself as usual, and then he follows. Harley asks Renee if she knows those guys, and Renee replies, a little bit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Apparently, that's my suspicious song for Miss Renee Paquette. They're remarkably everywhere. Renee Paquette now gives Bowen the chance to get everything off his chest. As you can hear the crowd, in the arena, chanting, "Let's go, Max! You're the best wrestler alive!" And I don't think any of that helped Renee. In the main event, the ROH Pure Champion, who we normally don't talk about, is competing, and with him are the inventory, which means we get to briefly, and I'm saying briefly, this much of her, but it's enough seeing of Trish Adora. Akari Ora is also on mic, as is tradition for Collision, and she is looking beautiful this evening in a long black gown. All Black Elegance. The men have a great match, and we bugger off after Renee gets some in-ring words from the victorious Nigel McGuinness. We are leaving Cottage On now, and we explode into ROH, where we will be having 2 episodes of Battle Brilliance to be talking about. Whew. And we need to take a moment. We really do. We have to prepare ourselves for this, people. It's like a workout. You need to take a moment to stretch, be hydrated. Because in the first match, You won't believe who's coming. You really wouldn't. The suspension must be absolutely killing you. So I'm going to put you out of your misery. But first up is the wonderful Taya Valkyrie versus Layla Gray. We get the woman herself, and it is Taya, MXM, and Mr. Television execute their amazing ring entrance, one of the best in wrestling, I have to say. And well, currently, Taya battle poses on the ropes in her black animal print battle gear, sparkled up the wrestling wazoo. Layla Gray. I swear I'm going to contain myself. We're not going to have to go through that entire shenanigans every time I say Layla Gray because we got it all. We got it all out twice now, people. Okay. Layla Gray comes out to the entrance stage with the entire of Skyflight, but it is only Sir Christopher Daniels that will be staying ringside. Fave of the pod, Layla Gray is in her all baddies glory, dressed in a sparkly white battle two-piece. She battle poses on the ropes and gives us a gun show. Let's fucking go! Taya plays around a bit too much at the start of this match, and Layla Gray makes her pay. She takes her down for the first pin, all tight and squished, but Taya powers out at two. Gray takes Taya down again with a Hurricane Rana, but another pin on Taya just does not work, and she powers out at two. Disheveled, Taya stumbles to the corner. Layla Gray runs in and clocks her with a heel kick, grabs Taya by the hair, and rolls her into the middle of the ring to set her up for a running lariat and goes in for another pin. Ha ha! Taya does have to kick out, though. Mr. Television has the audacity to grab at Miss Layla Gray's legs, and she gives him a what for. But to do that, her back is turned to a Taya. And Taya plows through her with a clothesline, and now Layla Gray is the one who has to start kicking out before three. Woo! Taya bursts into battle mode and dominates our dear Layla Gray, who can, of course, take a beating, but she can't find an opening to get a counter move in. Ian! Riccaboni! He reads my mind! Well, he reads my mind that goes into threads that then reads my mind again, and he mentions the Pure Championship tournament that we have all been wondering about. He states that it is still on its way. YOSH! It is still coming. Yes, we are going to be getting that tournament, which means the Women's Pure Championship is still on the books. Woohoo! I was just real. Oh, see, look, even Julia was excited. You may not have seen her, but she was there on the back. I am just happy that it was finally mentioned because I was just only getting like I know there have been like injuries and stuff like that and like different things have happened, but I was just getting a little worried because there just hadn't been anything said. I was like, oh no, don't hide them. Oh, but all is well. Taya, though, throws Layla to the outside and she lands hard on the ground. Taya comes out too, but instead for going for Layla like I thought, she instead tongue wrestles with her husband instead. Back in the ring, Taya and Layla exchange stiff forearm shots back and forth until Layla gets the opening she needed to run off the ropes and hits Taya with a beautiful cutter. She scrambles over Taya for the pin, but Taya can still kick out before three. Daniels leads the crowd in a power-up clap that gives Layla life, and she gets to her feet, hurting but determined to win. Layla takes all that power, climbs up onto the second rope, but before she can fly, Mr. Television jumps up onto the apron and distracts Layla Gray enough for Taya to wrench her off the ropes. Taya then gets a little bit too distracted herself by Mr. Television, and Layla Gray takes advantage of that by running off the ropes again and nailing her with another beautiful cutter. Mr. Daniels has had enough of all of Mr. Television and pulls him off the apron. Layla Gray puts Taya in a tight as fuck dragon sleeper, like pulling all the way back on Tyre's neck, wrenching her into like a painful position, squeezing the air out of her while she herself releases a battle cry from the depths with all of her strength going into that submission. Tyre can't hold out and she taps. Lana Gray wins! Woo! Yeah! Every day is great when you have a Layla Gray. Hey, so that was great. That was really invigorating. It's like taking a cold shower in the morning. You're just like ready to go. Although I've never taken a cold shower in my life and I never fucking would because then my body would be like, what are you doing to me? And there's no way in hell I am starting off the day right with that kind of shit. But it's refreshing. In our second episode of Ring of Honor, because that was all for the first one, we get a Billy Starks facing Allison Kay in our bonus episode, like I said. AK is someone that we have seen a few times now, and I honestly think she would make a great addition to the roster. She would, and you know me because I love factions. This is not a diss at all. I reckon she could like fully slot into a nice little faction somewhere, beef something out, be great. AK and Billy, oh no, sorry, I'm moving ahead on myself because Billy comes to the ring in a silver and lavender styled battle gear, and she is accompanied very shortly, very tinily. That's not a short joke. My brain just went into 5 different directions on that. Accompanied very briefly, that's what I wanted to say, by the Ring of Honor World Champion. AK and Billy have a great match. Billy's ability to absorb heavy blows is what's going to make her inevitably unstoppable. Unstoppable? Unstoppable. AK is experienced though and has much more power in all of those limbs and gives Starks a absolute beating. Starks goes all like hide though, as she does, and glumps on a chicken wing at the end of the match. 2K, who tries desperately hard to fight out with everything inside of her, but unfortunately, she must tap because Starks has that on nice and tight, and Billy wins. She doesn't end AK's suffering though, so she will need some comeuppance, I have to say. A little revenge match I would like to see between those two because she keeps that on for well after the bell has rung. Dastardly Billy Starks. Someone else who we have seen a lot of, well, not as much as Allison Kay, but a few times on Ring of Honor is Miss Marty Bell. And she is here to face Marina Shafir. Go, Marty. I don't mean this disrespectfully, but go, Marty. I would be like that with anyone. Even if it, honestly, no bullshit, even if it was like Tony Storm, I'd be like, oh, shit. Go, Tony. Whew, that's gonna be painful. That's really gonna be painful. But Marina is here to face Marty Bell, who is in yellow and black battle gear, whilst our Marina is in her far more casual battle gear, which somehow to me, on her, is way more intimidating. She's really like worked that out because other like wrestlers who have like chosen the more casual like fighting wear to wear in their battles, it hasn't quite enhanced them. But with Marina, it's like she could wear like a half fucking latex. Where is my mind going? I was thinking of that like shiny shit that they put in like like active wear. Anyway, all I'm saying is she would look dangerous in anything. Handshakes are exchanged, and try as she might with all of her very good tricks, Marty Bell like managed to like get in some like heavy socks onto fucking Marina Shafir. She really did. But she almost instantly Even though she fights through like at moments in the match, she almost instantly gets dominated by Shafir's Judoku, which is her Jesus, which is her damaging blows. Damaging blows? My brain is wafting off. It's just her damage is all in her all in her limbs, and when she catches you in them, you just food. You can't fight against that. She's too goddamn talented. The match ends with mother's milk, as is tradition in Marina Shafir's matches, and victoriously she stands in the ring. But it's Marina, so yeah, you you wouldn't know that she's like just she's just won a match, and Marty rolls the frick out of there. One thing I will say for Marina though is that she does not engage in any dastardly deeds. So she has like still the respect of the battle in her, like she goes hard because it's Marina Shafir, but there's still respect in the match, once that handshake is done, you're fucking whatever you're doing. Yeah. So yay! The pure fucking championship tournament is coming back. I'm so excited. And we have Forbidden Door coming up. Oh my goodness. So Athena will be taking on Timeless Tony Storm for her championship. Timeless hasn't challenged Athena for her own at all. It's just for the world championship. Don't I mean there hasn't been any rules at all in place. It's just going to be a normal match so far, so there could be shenanigans. We'll have to wait and see. Mercedes is now going to face Alex Windsor, and Persephone in the four-way. So we got one more person to think about getting in there, and it really is so open. I mean, we obviously know who wouldn't be involved, like, people who are under like contracts specifically with others that have no wiggle room. But outside of that, who do you think's going to frickin' enter? This could be anything. I'm wondering because Tokyo Joshi Pro have a good relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I think it was a good relationship with Stardom. But I do know that like they've like crossed over paths before, so it could even be someone like from that far removed. But who do you think is going to be in the four-way for the TBS Championship? Do you think Mercedes is keeping her championship? Honestly, I've already thought too much on it myself. It's possible though, especially when you see who is in the match, and we're like the fourth person being a mystery so far. It's hard to predict, but I think any match has a possibility of someone losing their title. A four-way makes it more difficult, as we went through with the four-way for the 100K. I'm very excited to see what happens, and I'm very, very, very excited to see who is the fourth person because I do not think it's coming from I do not. But excited. So yeah, everyone look out for the match of the Megasis and Shotzi Blackheart over at GCW. Or as I like to say, good cunt wrestling. Only because it amuses me. And it's the end of the episode now, so I feel like I can freely say the word without anything happening. She's a cheeky fucker. So, what are your thoughts, everybody, on this week's discussion? If you so wish, you can leave them as comments in the appropriate sections of wherever you are. And if you would be so kind as to like and subscribe while you were there, I would be very thankful. You can find me lurking threads at Bex underscore Bastet and under a tree at Blue Sky at Bex hyphen best step. I was thinking about this next thing I had to add in, so my brain was already forgetting what I was already saying, so hence the but we are on TikTok, which I forgot to mention last time. It is Don't Call Me Diva, very, very easy to find, where I put in clips of the show, shit that I find funny, things that I want to highlight, just little like teasers to like, come over and see. So, if you want to, you can find me over there. Thank you to Shane, as always, my excellent producer, editor, promoter extraordinaire. Go check out Ethos Media Network if you would like to check out more from him. Join us all at sickosclub.com and at Sickos Club on Threads. It's one word. You've never met a more inclusive, smart, kind, and talented bunch of silly sausages who also happen to really enjoy wrestling. This has been Don't Call Me Diva. Women's Wrestling Rules! That was fun. Don't be a dick.